Okay, so the first topic of this week will be cross-site scripting, and for that I want to introduce JavaScript. With cross-site scripting, we usually don't attack the web server delivering content to the user, but we attack the end user directly, whoever that might be. So, as I've said, the World Wide Web was created to serve static document across researchers and be able to interlink them. Now, as you probably know, the web is very dynamic nowadays. If I visit a website, for example, Google Presenter here, I can use this website just like an application, and not on every click or on every mouse movement it's going to issue a HTTP request. It's actually running in my browser, and that is done via JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language. It has nothing to do with Java. They just wanted to run on the Java hype then. And it is meant to make interactive applications within the browser. It has a lot of pretty weird quirks that you'll see about in the next video. Mainly because it was designed in a time span of around a week as a proof of concept at Netscape, and then from then on wasn't able to evolve much. The interpreters of JavaScript have evolved a lot, really fast nowadays, but the language itself is still pretty weird, which is unfortunate because nowadays JavaScript is increasingly used on the server side as well, and that, as you've probably seen in the tasks, very easily leads to security relevant bugs. Here I've listed some examples of very weird behavior of JavaScript. For example, these two numbers are equivalent, or this object is equivalent to its inverse, which of course should never be the case. So how is JavaScript used within websites? Well, within HTML you can open a script tag and then either use the source attribute to link a JavaScript file that will be downloaded and then executed, or you can write JavaScript code in the script tag, and then you have inline JavaScript code that is then run. Unfortunately, this has nothing to do with cross-site scripting, just as a side note. Unfortunately, if you visit a modern-day website, on average you will download multiple megabytes of JavaScript code that is then run within your browser. So you go to, let's say, mywebshop.com, and then your browser automatically downloads a lot of JavaScript code onto your computer and then executes it on your computer. So the modern day web is has essentially remote code execution built in by design. So if you visit any website, it will download code and execute it on your machine. Now it executes this code in a sandbox, so it can't do anything evil like delete files off your system or install a backdoor or whatever. Well, that's another discipline in hacking, is sandbox escape, to get out of such a sandbox and then execute arbitrary code on the machine outside of the sandbox. But that's another topic. Maybe we're going to go into this in the binary exploitation part later in the lecture, but this week we're going to look at cross-site scripting.